Before it became a metaphor, the Trojan horse was a tactic. Troy had walls, guards, a system that worked. No one could get in. So instead of trying to break in, the enemy changed strategy. Hello, and welcome to Known and Trusted. My name is Anna Sonoda. The enemy built something that looked useful and left it at the gate. And then they waited. No attack, no urgency, just something that looked intentional, impressive, maybe even helpful. And eventually, the city opened the doors of the gates and brought it inside. That is the part I want you to hold on to. The danger did not feel like danger. It felt like something worth letting in. And that is exactly the dynamic we need to understand when we talk about grooming. Today, I'm going to walk you through how grooming actually shows up, why it bypasses our instincts, and what you can do in real life to protect children with clarity and calm. Today's core idea is that grooming is not a break-in, it is an invitation. It does not usually show up as a threat. It shows up as help, connection, relief. It fits into family life so naturally that nothing feels off at first. And by the time something does feel different, access and influence are already in position. That's why this analogy works. Because the risk is not something pushing its way in, it is something being permitted or allowed in because it looks like it belongs. And this is where a lot of parents can get stuck. We're told to trust our instincts. And instincts matter. But instincts are designed for obvious danger. Grooming does not trigger that system. It works with something else. Our tendency to accept help, to trust familiarity, to appreciate the person who makes our lives easier. So the question shifts, not just, do I trust this person? But what is changing around my child? This is where I want to make this very concrete for you. There are 3 shifts that tend to happen together. I call it the GAS framework: grooming, access, space. Let me walk you through it. Grooming. This is where the perverse courtship becomes pivotal in building a relationship that is closer, more intimate, and faster than you would expect. There's emotional connection, attunement, maybe even a sense that this adult really gets or understands your child. On its own, it can look positive. Access. Now time increases, greater proximity, more one-on-one interaction, more opportunities for that relationship, if you will, to deepen. Again, this can look helpful. Space. This is the piece many people overlook. Visibility starts to decrease. There are more exceptions to the rule, more private moments, less supervision, more situations where fewer and fewer adults are present, welcome, or encouraged to participate. Any one of these can look normal. Together, however, they tell a story. Let's make this practical. You might notice an adult who consistently steps in or steps up. They help when others are busy. They offer rides. They stay late. At first, it feels like support. Then over time, they spend more and more one-on-one time with your child. They become the go-to person. Other adults start to step back. Nothing feels outwardly alarming, but if you zoom back, the pattern is clear. That's the Trojan horse. Here are some patterns to keep an eye on. Not as an accusation, but as signals. An adult who fills gaps in ways others do not. Increasing one-on-one time that was not part of the original role or expectation. Frequent exceptions to supervision or communication rules or policies. Gifts, secrets, or private rituals, a child who becomes protective of that relationship or hesitant to share details openly. One of these alone does not mean something is wrong, but patterns are where it matters. What can you do today? This is where parents often feel stuck. So let's make this very usable. Begin with structure, not suspicion. Structure is what makes patterns visible. On a daily basis, name roles clearly. Who does what in your child's life? Say it out loud, in earshot, or even better, alongside your child. Keep access visible. Know who is spending time with your child, under what conditions, when. This does not need to be complicated. A quick note in your phone works. Limit private exceptions, especially with new or expanding relationships. If you're wondering how to bring this into your home, here are a few different ways it can look. With younger children, keep it simple. Name helpers. Use clear language. Give them short phrases they can use again and again. With school-aged children, ask about patterns. Who was there? What happened? What changed? Make that part of your normal conversation. With teens, be direct. Talk about influence. Talk about access. Talk about communication trends or patterns. Give them the context to understand why these things matter and who they can count on to support them if they have any concerns. If something feels off, you do not need certainty in order to act. You can pause access. You can ask clear, factual questions. Who was there? Where did this happen? What changed? You can document what you notice. And if needed, you can involve other adults, supervisors, or institutions or organizations. Action does not require proof. It requires clarity. Building protective systems. This is bigger than one family. Protection is structural. It lives in systems. That means clear supervision policies, shared responsibility between multiple adults, visible routines, few, if any, exceptions to the rules or policies. If your child is part of a team or school or program, ask about them. Clarity protects everyone. Community matters. This work gets stronger when it is shared among members of a community. Talk about this with other parents. Ask better questions in group settings. Advocate for clear policies with administrators, supervisors, and leadership. And support the people doing the work, because protection is not individual. It is collective. If you want help building this skill, Duck, Duck, Groom is a book I wrote that will help you recognize patterns and build your preparation, not your paranoia. Wait, That's Weird gives you language to use with your younger children inside your home. And Duck, Duck, Groom, the guided journal, supports deeper understanding and recovery for families and survivors recovering from the grooming process. I will also be teaching this live at CrimeCon 2026 coming up in May in Las Vegas. If this episode helped, share it, send it to someone else who cares about kids. In closing, the people at Troy's gates were not careless. They were looking for the wrong signal. They expected force. What arrived felt worth letting in. Grooming works in a similar way. It is allowed in because it looks helpful, useful, or kind. And when you stop looking only for danger and start paying attention to what is changing, you may recognize it earlier. Not with fear, but with clarity. And that clarity is what protects children. My name is Anna Sonoda, and this has been an episode of Known and Trusted. Thank you for joining us, and as always, show up, look up, and speak up.